Welcome to Live with Chatufa. Welcome to the gospel of the freedom of the Zimbabwean people. You are so blessed to be with us on the show. We welcome everyone on the show. We are live wherever you are, wherever you could be watching us from. This is the gospel of freedom. We are excited looking at what is happening in the nation as we are walking towards the freedom of Zimbabwe, as we are walking towards the true independence of the Zimbabwean people. And we are so excited that God is in it and God is moving in it towards the plans that he has for our nation. As we continue to watch activities in the country, we are seeing a lot of things happening, a lot of chaos happening in the country, signifying that indeed the end for ZANU-PF is very, very close. For those that are joining us for the very first time, please subscribe to this channel, ring the bell, like, and also share. You will also be receiving notifications each time that we are live on the show. We are looking at chaos as the Zimbabwe National Army soldiers are involved in robberies, and those involved in those robberies have been nabbed by police. And you remember, family, we were talking about this issue. I think in some few days ago, we were talking about the dangers that Zimbabwe is in, including even the rule of Mnangagwa, where to have some loose cannons around, to have soldiers, police who are wielding guns in the communities. And we were saying it is very unsafe for everyone, not only for a few individuals, but for every citizen of Zimbabwe. We cannot have such kind of lawlessness happening. So we, first of all, let us look at the report that we have here before we can go into the commentary about the activities that are happening in the country through security agents, soldiers, police, who are continuously found in possession of guns, and they're carrying out a lot of criminal activity. So Police Zimbabwe spokesperson Assistant Commissioner Paul Nyati confirms arrest of 9 suspected armed robbers, including members of the Zimbabwe National Army, over a series robberies in Harare, Murewa, and Shamba. 9 firearms have been recovered from the gang, which has since admitted to committing 5 of the crimes. The group nabbed early Tuesday appeared in court this afternoon. So we have a video here that Paul Tembanyati is talking about this very issue. So I just want us to listen to this before we can start to talk about this.
Yes, the Zimbabwe Republic Police confirms the arrest of 9 armed robbery suspects and the recovery of 9 firearms. These suspects have been involved in armed robbery cases in Harare, in Murewa and Shamba. And one of the cases include the one which occurred at JNP security offices in Eastleigh in the year 2022, where over $142 US was stolen. So we want to thank members of the public for giving information to the police, and also the work which has been done by police detectives in establishing leads in these robbery cases. The suspects are clearing 5 armed robbery cases initially, but I want to assure Zimbabweans that as investigations continue, more cases in which these suspects were involved are going to be reviewed. So definitely we are saying there is no going back in the fight against armed robbery cases in the country, and they also continue to implore the public to be alert, and also to continue giving information to the Zimbabwe Republic Police, because definitely there's no going back in the fight against armed robbery cases in the country. They are going to appear in the court this afternoon. The position of the security services, which include the Zimbabwe Republic Police, National Army, and others, has been that anyone involved in criminal activities will be dealt with in terms of the country's laws. So I wanted to assure Zimbabweans that all robbery cases will be investigated professionally, and if the identity of the suspect is revealed, definitely the public would know.
Right. So this is it. This is it, family. This is the issues that are happening in our country, and only in Zimbabwe do we see cases like this one. And you see, when we look at this very scenario that is happening in the country, you can tell that this is all because of the failure of ZANU-PF. This is a product of the failure of the ZANU-PF and Mnangagwa's administration. Because when you start to see the guys in the police, the guys in the military, people who are supposed to be the custodians of the law, becoming the criminals and the rogue elements of society themselves, then who is going to arrest who? Who is going to police who? So we have a problem. And that problem is a big problem. And right now, last time, if you remember, in the last show, when we were discussing the same issue, we were saying, how come these guys are affording to carry guns? And some of the guns, if you still remember, those that were caught, I think was it in Arcadia at some time, they were carrying AK-47 rifles. And when you talk about AK-47 rifles, there's nobody who owns AK-47 rifles except the government. And you'd be asking yourself, how come these arms are able to leave the armory? What is happening? Where is the accountability? Who has signed for those guns to leave the armory? Who has authorized their departure from where they are supposed to be kept? So which means we still suspect highly that we have some army and police bosses who are sending their little dogs to go and commit these crimes. And they get a portion out of it. This is exactly what is happening. Because when we look right now at the level of the crimes committed by people in the security sector, and the way that it is handled, it is so different. Very, very different. I'm telling you, in a normal country, like we always say, Zimbabwe is not normal under Mnangagwa. In a normal country, there was supposed to be a serious press conference from the military. Right now, the whole country was supposed to be at standstill, because the army, the military would be at a certain position where they really want to protect their integrity. But look at it, it is just being dealt like it's just an ordinary criminals that are caught by police. And yet the name of the military, the Zimbabwe National Army, is involved in this. Why is this issue being taken so lightly? I'm telling you, there were supposed to be thorough investigations right now that are happening both in the police and in the military, to check the people that are authorizing the release of arms, to check records, who has brought in what and what. And it is also showing some loopholes in the way that the administration of firearms is being done. Because guns have got serial numbers. They are known how many there are. The ones that are at a certain place, they are known, and they have a record, they have a license and everything. How come a gun can be missing for a very long time from the armory, and still records don't indicate that we still have some guns or some other kind of arms that have not been submitted? Can we really say this is a genuine situation, or are we not in the situation that we are suspecting that we have quite a number of people that are up there in the ranks who are using some of these guys to do the criminal activity? And you can wonder, when you look at the kind of money that is being given to bosses that are in army, bosses that are in police, bosses in CIO, these guys, they even have diamond mines that they own from DRC. And we don't even talk about the Chiadzwa. Police have got mines, CIO have got mines, ZNA bosses have got mines all over. And these guys are sharing the piece of cake right up there, up the ranks. But if they are still going to be involved in issues like this, we are wondering, surely, how much do these people need? How much do they really want to have from all the coffers of the country they are siphoning? So we have a serious problem here, because the reaction that we are seeing shouldn't just be like at the level of Paul Tembanyat. We are supposed to be having the National Army really dealing with this issue. But the issue of soldiers and police involved in robberies did not start today. This has started, especially when this foolish Second Republic started. This is when we started having more of these cases rising up. We never really used to hear issues like this happening during the time of Mugabe. So you can see the level to which Mnangagwa has degraded our country, Zimbabwe, from a country that was a lawful country, a country that was a respectable country, a country that had professional police, professional soldiers, a country that had professional, systems working, both in government and in non-governmental organizations, in industry, in agriculture, and everywhere. But look at us today. We are just a big laughing stock of the world because of the kind of leadership that we have today in the country. We cannot afford, no country can afford to have trained personnel holding guns in the streets, because these guys are trained to kill, they are trained to shoot. And in the event that they are provoked, be it in a beer hall, in a nightclub, or wherever, and they have these guns, I'm telling you, they can finish people. They can kill hundreds. One individual can be able to kill hundreds because it's their profession. They are trained killers. Why would we have such people like that? I remember during the early days of independence, and even when Zimbabwe used to be a bit normal, soldiers were not allowed to fight. It was a big issue as a soldier to be heard that you fought maybe in a bar or somewhere. The way that you would be treated back in the barracks would be serious, because they knew that these people are trained, highly trained, and they can beat someone to death. You see, so they are. It's like boxing people. The people that are professional boxers. Professional boxers are not allowed to fight in the streets or in the public. They are only allowed to fight in the ring with their gloves on. Otherwise, if as a professional boxer you go and fight in the nightclub, you go to jail straight. You go, whether you were provoked or not, because it is understood that this is your profession, to beat up people. So if you are going to do it now to ordinary people who are there, who are not trained and professional to defend themselves, you can kill an individual. So this is exactly what is happening. But Zimbabwe has become a lawless country under Mnangagwa, and this is what we are seeing. And it doesn't look like it's a big deal at all. This issue is just being spoken in very small corners of the news media. It's not like it's a booming issue. It's not a booming story at all. So is it that Zimbabwe is now used to criminology? Is it that we are now just surviving? We are now like pigs in the mud. You know, when a pig is in the mud, it doesn't worry, because that's its rightful place. It's like Zimbabwe is now a pig in the mud. We don't care anymore about debt. We don't care about things that are wrong. We would rather care about any other funny things, looking at my TT and Fifi and those nude pictures. Everyone is rushing there, and no one is talking about, we want a lawful country. We want a police force that is professional. We want soldiers. We want to hear what the ZNA has to say about what is happening in the country. We want a direct, public address by the military to come and clear their name, to explain why arms are leaving the armory. Police also, we are supposed to have professional people coming out, and even when these guys are caught, whoever is conniving with them, heads must be seen to be rolling, both in the military and in the police force, to make sure that this issue is dealt with precisely. Because the possibility that could be here is that these guys could be the ones that have been caught, and the bosses, once they discover that some have been caught, they will reject them, they will dump them, and then they disconnect from them. So those guys who can face their own consequences, yet they can still be having some other groups that are still operational. So it's a point where they are saying, once you are caught, you are not attached to me. Once you are caught, don't even mention me. I don't know you. Something like that. That could be the scenario that is happening. And you remember in that last show, we were saying this is very dangerous, even for Mnangagwa's own rule. And I was explaining that Mnangagwa is watching, as always he does. He watches serious issues happening in the country, and he pretends as if he's not even there. He doesn't even comment or talk about it, because he's busy looting. All that he's concentrating on is checking whether how many trucks of lithium have crossed into Mozambique, how much gold has been bought from Makrokoza, how much is this and that, and whatever that they are doing in terms of stealing. So they are not worried about what is happening in the country, the safety of the Zimbabwean people. They are not worried about that. But the thing that he forgets, like what I was saying last time, family, is that having people that are carrying guns out there in the streets is very, very dangerous. Because one day Mnangagwa is going to get to a place where he thinks he just wants to go down and greet people around, you know, because he might want to try to also compete with Chamisa, to say Chamisa greets people in the streets. Maybe let me just get excited and do it. Or just some small gathering somewhere, or get to somewhere where it may not be, you know, that very much expected for him to be there. And those guys will be there. And the fact that we are having these security guys being the ones that are committing crimes, that's a message. That's a proper message that is being sent to the government, to ZANU-PF, to Emmerson Mnangagwa, that things are not well in the country. But I don't know if they are seeing this as a message. Instead, they are trying even to protect those people, those bosses that are using these young people out there. And I was looking at the young people. I think maybe let me bring the picture again so that you can see. I was looking at them, especially the video that shows them appearing at court. If you look at them, these guys are not, you know, just look at them. They are very healthy people, very, very strong. Look at this one. Look at this one. Look at this one. These guys are eating. They are showing that they are living well. These guys, they are living well. These guys, they are not really like poverty stricken that much. And you can agree that these guys could be still guys that are going to work, even in that in the ZNA, or whether it is the police force. They are still getting paid. They are still going to work, and they still have some other extra activities that they are doing of robbery out there, and they are making extra money, which means they are living their life more, you know, above the average soldier, probably, who is not also engaged in these activities. It means this is a syndicate of people that are really making money, and they are sharing this money, and their lives look good. Their lives look good. It shows that these guys are guys who are able to go and, you know, braai and eat good meat and drink good beer and buy good clothes for themselves. Very healthy, very strong. Why is a syndicate like this happening continuously in the country without us seeing the seriousness that comes from government? No one is really into it seriously. I'm telling you, you are going to see that this issue is going to just die. You just hear that they've been taken to court. If those guys, the bosses, decide to throw them away, those guys can just go to prison, and then it ends there. But the robberies will not stop. You will continue to hear robberies continuously going on, because the very bosses are the ones that are managing these people, and more other guns will continue to be released, and more groups going around stealing and even plundering the reputation of the nation. So it is a sad development in our country, which really needs to be attended to. But can we really expect Emmerson Mnangagwa and ZANU-PF to attend to issues like this? It is because they have allowed Zimbabwe to go to the dogs. Zimbabwe has gone to the dogs, and we can't expect them to fix this. They can't. This needs a totally new government. This needs a totally new leadership who will come and start to tighten up screws to make sure that things like this don't happen in the country. Because, you know, the problem with ZANU-PF now is that there is nobody who is able to bail the cat, because everyone is corrupt in some way. Everybody is doing something that is known by the other. So who is still in the right position to go and tell the other that what you are doing is wrong? Because that one who is supposed to rebuke the other is also engaged in some other activities that they are doing. Mnangagwa cannot even tell his guys to stop it, because he is doing worse than what they are doing. That's the problem that we are having in the government that is running our country today. It's a mafia government. We are run by some kind of a cartel government. We are run by the Pablo Escobars in Zimbabwe. That's why Zimbabwe remains a laughing stock of the world. But we need to continue declaring freedom for the Zimbabwean people. This is why we are coming out. We are saying Zimbabwe must be freed. from what ZANU-PF has plunged our country into. We need to pick up the pieces of our country. We need to continue demanding for freedom of the Zimbabwean people. Zimbabwe is in prison. It needs to be freed from ZANU-PF. Let us continue to demand our freedom. Let us continue to pray for our nation. Let us continue to believe God for what God has to do for our nation. When we have reached the very, very last end, like we have reached right now, we are about to reach our restoration. Our restoration has arrived, and God is going to fix this country. God is going to place leaders that fear him, leaders that work for the betterment of the Zimbabwean people. Zimbabwe is going to rise. Zimbabwe is going to be better. Zimbabwe is going to come out of all these cases that we are seeing today, and we will one day talk about them as history of things that in the past. This all is going to be history. All this is going to pass. One day we shall be free, and we shall work to improve the country, and we shall compete with all other countries that are out there in the world. Brother Isaac says, surely it tells us that we are not taking care of our civil servants. Yes, that's a sign that things are not right. Things are not well. Gogo Gumi, how are you? She says, hello, our Chatufa channel. Yes, greetings to you. Greetings to you. Thank you so much for joining us on the show. Kampala says, good evening, family. Zimbabwe will never be normal until Mnangagwa goes. Expecting anything to be about this is just dreaming. Yes, these ones, they will never. This is the mosquito that is causing malaria. And we can't expect the same mosquito that causes malaria to heal malaria. Right, expecting something to be done about this by Mnangagwa is naive. Let's concentrate on removing this man and start bringing sanity into the country. All this can be reversed when ZANU-PF goes. Definitely, things are going to be taken back to shape once these hooligans are out. Lois Majinto says, the country is cursed. Good evening, Chatufa family. Yes, and we want that case to go as we continue to pray. The case of that ZANU-PF has brought upon the nation is going. Remember, my last elections, these people did not vote for the government. Ndivo vanhu vacho ivavo, they should learn kuita accept zvinenge zvabuda musarudzo. Yes, thank you very much, Gogo Ngube, for that. This is why ZANU-PF is always in trouble, because the moment you steal elections, you have already stolen every right to be the accountable leader of a nation. We need new leadership in Zimbabwe. We are tired of being ruled by this mafia. This mafia is going. The season for they are going is now. Gogo Stole says everything is upside down, the inside out, and hopelessness, hopelessly hopeless. But we have hope in the promises of God. God has promised that our country shall come out of these doldrums, and we are very close. Temba Maposa says hunger and poverty is pushing them to commit crimes. Definitely, this is exactly what we are saying. Hey, brother, I like your journalism. You report as it is. Thank you very much, brother Elisha. Thank you for supporting the channel. Hasney says, Marida Evans kuchema kwedu chokwadi. Hashtag new. We need new leaders. Yeah. Very, very soon. The season for change has come, and the devil cannot stop it, and ZANU-PF can never stop it. Family, thank you so much for joining me on this very show. We are going to be meeting after a few minutes from now. We are going to be on the main channel, Tufa Television Production, where we are going to be talking about reserves from Zimbabwe. We are going to be discussing that very issue. In a few minutes from now, I'll be on the main channel. So stay tuned till across the border on the other show. Be ready for it. Otherwise, remain blessed. God bless you, and God bless Zimbabwe.